Hi guys, Bran here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the idea of anti-loop, because I feel like a lot of people kind of treat anti-loop as just a concept, as just like the boogeyman, especially, the survivor side of things, obviously, because those are the ones going up against it the most. But a lot of people in this game, in this community, really hate the idea of anti-loop on killers. They think it ruins the game, and it's fundamentally against the game's design, and it ruins all the aspects of fun that the game can have. But I would like to say that I don't think that anti-loop is inherently bad. Hey, guess what? You read the title of the video, wowee. But I want to say that just the way anti-loop has been implemented into Dead by Daylight has been very bad. And I think Dredge's design kind of shows us that anti-loop can be fun, and anti-loop can work. It's just that the characters that have come out before him kind of don't do anti-loop well. Kind of literally at all. I think the main frustration that has come with anti-loop just as a concept and why it makes people mad and frustrates people is because the anti-loop that's been implemented into Dead by Daylight so far comes down to a simple sentence that is just the most frustrating, agonizing thing to go against, and that's, I hope they miss, because that's quite literally the only counterplay that certain characters have. For example, Trickster. Trickster was one of those characters that I think kind of embolizes this mindset the most, is that if you get caught out in a dead zone and you don't have anything, you don't have a window, you don't have a pallet, you kind of just gotta pray that the Trickster misses you. And that's basically the only thing you can do in that situation. You can't spin the killer, you can't try to hug a wall, you can't do anything that can really meaningfully stop the killer from coming and executing their power on you sufficiently. You just have to pray that they miss. This has been a thing for a long time. Twins, another good example. Victor's quite literally faster than you as Survivor. You just got to hope that when he goes, that he goes flying past you. You just have to pray that the Victor player is bad enough to miss you, and that's basically the only thing you can do against a Victor that's coming your way. There's not really any counterplay besides just praying that the player on the other side that is chasing you is bad and will miss. And this is kind of a design philosophy that really overtook 2021 killer design. Obviously, we talked about Trickster. Nemesis is another great example. At least you can kind of bait his tentacle. There's a little bit of wiggle room there to like bait his tentacle, but for the most part, you're still kind of like praying he misses. For the most part, even if a Nemesis is even slightly paying attention, he's definitely going to get the hit either way, because all he has to do is wait for you to enter a locked animation and it's a guaranteed hit. Pinhead, another great example of just, I hope you miss. I hope your little chain thing that you do to lock me down so you can get the M1, I hope you just miss that so I can actually keep playing the game. An Artist is probably the most paramount and intense version of this I hope they miss mentality, because it's really hard for her to miss, because all she has to do is set up the bird at one end of the loop and herself at the other, and she's probably guaranteeing herself a free hit there. So most of the killer's counterplay over the past year has been just, praying that the killer player behind their power sucks. And that's basically the only thing that can go your way if you're facing these killers as Survivor. And that's not even actually counterplay, because it's just completely reliant on the killer player, and you're just kind of subjected to whatever they're doing, which is obviously very uninteractive in a game where you're supposed to be fighting each other, like you're supposed to be literally interacting. And I think the Dredge succeeds in every way at doing everything the opposite of that while still maintaining anti-loop. I feel like the Dredge in every way emulates what fun anti-loop is supposed to be, because he has anti-loop, but it's not something that he gets inherently. It's not easy for him. It took me like 2 hours of gameplay when I first picked up the character to start understanding, like, oh, well, this is where I put the husk. This is when it's a good time to go back to the husk, or go here or go there. Like, this is when I know when to do this. It takes when is it a good time to lay down my husk? When is a good time to teleport to a locker mid chase? Like, stuff like that. Like, it takes skill to understand when it's good to do those things, when it's good to actually execute your anti-loop. And the most important thing about this is not that just it actually takes skill for the Dredge player to pull off, but that there's actual measurable important counterplay to his anti-loop. His husk, when he teleports back and forth between it, there's multiple options that the Survivor has to do to cut off his anti-loop. If the Dredge is not careful, the Survivor can literally run into his husk, and running into the husk breaks his husk, so he can't teleport to that anymore. So the remnant becomes useless. the survivor, and this is probably the smartest move, can run towards the husk, and the moment the dredge prepares to teleport, double back and run the opposite direction, because then he essentially preemptively teleports to the husk, and you're already too far away by the time his teleport finishes that essentially he's lost a lot of distance. He's kind of in the same spot where he began and wasted a bunch of time. And both his ability to know when to teleport and when to put his husk down versus your ability to know when to double back or to run straight into his husk both require an intense amount of skill. They require learning the game and being able to make that snap reaction very, very quickly to either, commit or, try to bait or try to, go on the aggressive and actually break the husk. Like these things, this is like concrete decision making that you have to make in a very, very short succession and know what the right play is versus the wrong play. It is smart stuff, and it really speaks to the good design of this character that both his anti-loop and your reaction to said anti-loop both require skill and both require quick decision making, which is really, really good. Really, really good. So Dredge does have anti-loop, but you're not sitting there when he puts his husk down and going, I hope he messes up. I hope he misses. I hope he screws up. And that's the only option that you have to you. We've been through this for a year of killers that besides Sadako, who is kind of just like, hello, welcome to 2022, where we have better killer design. We've been having killer after killer after killer after killer who just... the entire basis of their power is just you get to enact your will on the survivor, and the only thing they have to do and counterplay to you is to just pray you miss and just be efficient on the gens to make up for the fact that you're just going to essentially get value out of your power just because you played the certain character. But now with characters like Dredge that are hopefully going to continue to come out after this point, because it seems like they're kind of moving away from the Omega anti-loop philosophy, is that anti-loop can be fun. We just have to give players some way to be able to react to it. We saw what happened with Sadako is that they gave her no anti-loop. They gave her no anti-loop whatsoever, and we saw that kind of like resulted in a very, very weak character. So they said, okay, well, we can't have no anti-loop because we put no anti-loop on Sadako, and she's bottom 5 in the game. She may be 5, but she's bottom 5. She might be bottom 10 to some people. She's very, very weak. Either way is what I'm trying to get at. She's very, very weak because of her lack of anti-loop. So we can't just not give characters anti-loop, period, because that makes them really, really suffer in the 2022 version of this game. So they found a way to do it with Dredge. It's like, well, we could just make anti-loop, but there's just like specific things you can do back to them to cancel their anti-loop. Right? And I think that's why Dredge is really, really fun, and I think that's why people enjoy going against Dredge. That's why I enjoy playing Dredge. I think that's just why it works out, is because it is anti-loop, so I don't feel helpless at strong loops, but they don't feel helpless either because they have measurable counterplay to interrupt my anti-loop, which is how anti-loop should be designed. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, is that I don't think anti-loop is inherently bad. I just think that anti-loop without counterplay is bad, and then we've just been continually making characters that just have no counterplay or very, very little counterplay. So having an anti-loop that actually has measurable counterplay they have to learn really shows or kind of makes the difference between a good player and a bad player, and it increases the fun that can be had in the game. Okay, so that's it for today's videos, friends. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I do upload daily, so hopefully I will see you tomorrow, but if I don't, I will see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.